We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Wednesday, May 13th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Q.
Thank you for having me.
For coming in. Also, Moonji's with us.
Good morning.
Good to have you. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's the middle of the work week, the perfect time to pause and think about where we're all headed. So South Korea is now officially a super age society with a significant amount of the population aged 65 or older. So Kyun, when do you feel like you felt like Korea was an aging society?
I frequently use public transport, and compared to 5 or so years ago, I can notice many more seniors in subways and buses, regardless of time frames. There are separate seating zones for the elderly, pregnant women, and people with disabilities, and these days I can see more elderly sitting in other seats as those zones are already taken up. Another place where I can see the change in Korea becoming an aging society is when I go to the doctors. Again, not related to what time I go. The main age group of patients waiting would be seniors. Now, quite a while ago, if I went there before or after lunchtime, the majority were actually office workers, or it was actually quite empty if you went at those times. And even in my neighborhood, I tend to see more seniors than, I guess, younger people or even students just walking around in the neighborhood, the parks, which is, I mean, it's something that we have to accept now, but at the same time, it feels quite sad to see, not many kids running around shouting or screaming, which I do sometimes miss, but yeah, it's something that we all need to consider deeply, and it's something we're going to talk about today.
Right, I've noticed this too, like with playgrounds, a lot of them are really deserted. It's a bit jarring.
It's quite empty, yeah.
They are, yeah. What about you, Moonjun?
Yeah, honestly, although I've repeatedly heard that South Korea has been transitioning into super age society these days, but I thought I really didn't experience it firsthand. But when I really think about it, I think I was just getting used to gradual changes that we are experiencing here in South Korea. Looking at the market, we're seeing a clear expansion in senior targeted products and even hearing aids to specialized care products, and also our daily infrastructure is adapting with pedestrian crossing signal now lasting noticeably longer compared to the past. And the broadcasting industry itself is also kind of evolving in response to this trend, I think. These days we're seeing a lot of tutor to audition programs and also related programs, as well as health and medical programs that are clearly targeted towards senior viewers. So I think this kind of everyday phenomena perfectly illustrates the broader demographic shift unfolding here in South Korea.
Right. Sometimes the biggest social changes happen so gradually that we do not notice them until we look at the products we buy, the programs we watch, and even the amount of time we have to cross the street. So we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen. South Korea is now one of the fastest aging societies in the world. As the country enters the era of super aging, the impact is being felt across every part of society. And there is growing awareness of the changes needed to help older adults live safely and independently, and increasing interest in how other countries are adapting to similar demographic shifts. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at how life is changing in a super age society, what new systems and policies are emerging, and what today's younger generations may need as they become the senior citizens of tomorrow. Just as we saw in the video, aging is no longer a distant issue. It is already reshaping everyday life here in Korea. And the demographic shift is accelerating, and the numbers show just how quickly the country is growing older. So how quickly is Korea becoming a super age society?
So Soo-jin, before I answer your question, first, by age, you're considered a senior from the age of 65. In terms of stages, 65 to 75 is the early stage, 75 to 85 the middle stage, and 85 and above is considered late stage of old age. Now in 2024, South Korea officially entered a super age society under UN standards, having a population where 20% are those aged 65 and above. In 2026, according to resident registration population statistics, 1 in 5 people is now elderly. Furthermore, the average age of South Korea's population is actually 46, which exceeds the global average of by 16 years, narrowing the gap with Japan, which is the country with the oldest population now.
And as the population ages, new systems are being introduced to protect and support older adults. So what changes are already underway in Korea's aging society today, Moonju?
Yeah, starting last month, South Korea rolled out a dementia public trust system, 치매 공공신탁제로 in Korean, an initiative where the government directly manages the financial assets of dementia patients. Currently, the estimated total financial assets of dementia patients stands at 154 trillion Korean won, approximately 103.09 billion US dollars. With dementia cases rising as our population ages, the government has stepped into a protect vulnerable individuals from financial scams and ensure that their funds are used exactly where they are needed. Patients with mild cognitive impairment can enroll directly, while legal guardians must apply on behalf of those who lack decision-making capacity. Under this trust system, applicants can deposit a maximum of 1 billion Korean won for those aged 65 and older in the bottom of 70% income bracket. The system is available completely free of charge.
So all of this is a meaningful step, especially as dementia becomes a truly growing social concern. And other legal safeguards are also expanding to help seniors make important decisions. So what are some of the other support systems that are being strengthened, Kim?
Similar to what Moonju just explained very well, is the adult guardian system. This is a system in which the court appoints a suitable guardian to take legal responsibility and care for individuals who lack decision making due to either dementia, mental illness, or old age. In fact, if you look at the screen, the number of guardianship applications has been steadily increasing, largely driven by population aging. According to the Korea Adult Guardianship Support Association, there were only 600 cases back in 2014, which increased to around 17,000 by 2023 and jumped to 18,000 cases in 2024. Now, such a system is considered one of the essential social frameworks in the era of a super age society that South Korea is actually going through.
And these systems are becoming increasingly important as more people live longer and need more assistance. But Korea is not alone in this, and many countries are finding creative ways to adapt. So how are other countries responding to aging, Moonju?
Yeah, looking at countries like Japan, the oldest country in the world, and various European nations, which experience rapid aging ahead of South Korea, obviously, we can see a diverse range of systems already established for their senior citizens. Japan, in particular, pioneered a long-term care insurance system that fundamentally shifts the burden of caregiving from individual to the society. So they have also built an infrastructure focused on aging in place, allowing seniors to remain in their familiar communities rather than relocating to nursing facilities. The services born from this demographic shift are becoming quite diverse now, and there is the Moto service in Japan, which pairs college students as companions for the elderly. And on the flip side, we have even seen the emergence of a grandma rental service. This is where young adults looking for advice and emotional support can seek out for comforting wisdom of seniors.
That one is really interesting.
Yeah,
Like,
that was very
wow.
interesting. Like, it's part of the family program that Japan is providing to all the citizens, and grandma rental program. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's like for the grandmas themselves, they can also feel useful, and then people can get really wise advice as well.
Wise, yeah.
It's quite interesting. So it's really interesting to see how caregiving is being reimagined as both a social service and now a new source of jobs. And these examples suggest that aging can create new opportunities as well as new challenges, however. So what other lessons can Korea learn from abroad?
To give you another example from overseas, China is also becoming a nation with an increasing population of those aged 65 and above. A new occupation known as full-time grandchildren has emerged, where their role is to take care for elderly people living alone, mainly by accompanying them on walks, assisting them with hospital visits, and just providing general companionship, like having someone to talk to. The pay is said to be comparable to the wages earned by restaurant workers in major cities or employees at small and medium-sized companies, making the job increasingly popular. Now, Korea's current retirement age is 60. However, with increasing life expectancy, I feel the elderly require a better support system for them to continue their economic activity after retirement. Now, many elderly actually took on small chicken franchises or opening a small coffee store with the hope of earning a small yet fixed income without working as much as they used to. But the reality was very different, having to actually work more hours to reduce the losses, not the profits. And according to relevant sources, businesses' closure rate was close to 50% within 3 years of operation, showing how difficult it is for retired seniors to actually continue their economic activities by making just the minimum amount of money.
And as people live longer, retirement should not mean the end of economic activity, but an opportunity to continue working in ways that are stable, meaningful, and also sustainable. So to get a more in-depth and personal perspective, we're going to talk to someone part of the older generation. And that conversation is coming up right after break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining today is Professor Park Nam-gi, who has recently retired. So hello, Professor. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming on. So Professor, what aging-related policies or social changes have you noticed?
Actually, I'm early stage, so I haven't noticed any major shift yet, but there are some practical benefits in daily life. You already mentioned is a free subway rise, and there are 30% discount on train fares are quite helpful. And we also get discounts on admission fees for public events or national museums. While there are some basic welfare benefits, there's still a gap in how society view and accommodates the active lifestyle of older generation. So I see more effort in urban planning to create age-friendly cities, such as increasing the duration of green lights at crosswalks and installing more benches on the street and public parks to support senior mobility.
Professor Park, I heard that you only recently retired, and as much as you look very young, but what have been the biggest challenges as you've grown older, and what support has been most helpful for you?
Yeah, the biggest challenge after retirement was definitely establishing a new daily routine. The sudden loss of your professional title can lead to an identity crisis. Emotional support from family and engaging a intergeneration, the mentoring have been incredibly helpful in maintaining a sense of purpose. For me, having a dedicated research space to commute to was the most crucial support. It allows me to stay focused on my own works every day. I believe creating your own routine is more important than relying on external help. So my current life is quite structured. I have my own weekdays and weekend routine. You want to hear that or just pass?
Oh, we would like to hear it, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, weekdays, I mostly spend my time writing my books and articles. I hike early in the morning. After that, I come to my office and spend whole morning to write. And I read and write more in the afternoon. I also hit the gym every other day to stay fit. Weekend, I try to focus on my roles as a husband and grandfather. Also, I give some lectures here and there and travel whenever I can. So staying active and productive is what keeps me going.
You live a busier life than I do, and I'm only a millennial.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your experience, Professor. Our last question for you today is, what do you think are some additional support systems does senior citizens still need these days in society?
Yeah, all seniors, not the same seniors. Like you said, there are 3 stages, but still everybody different from each other. So early stage, the seniors today have the time, the will, and even the physical strength, but they lack opportunities to contribute to society. So I think there are 3 ways to grow old. You can become like recyclables, then it's still a little usable. You can become trash or waste, cannot use anymore. And there's another way. You can become something truly special, like a precious antique that shines brighter with age. Then society will need you. So I always emphasize that we must sharpen our attitude and talents, such as skills, knowledge, and wisdom before retirement to remain unique and valuable. In addition, like everybody knows, we need to prepare for our leisure life and hobbies to stay engaged. And on top of that, we need to connect with groups that offer both volunteer work and hobbies. Also, like need many friends. Some, not many, some friends, intimate, can do something together. To support this, I believe we need training systems, health vouchers, and care systems. For seniors, we need special programs to boost digital literacy, job skills, and whatever they want, so we can adapt to rapidly changing society and find fulfillment through work until the very end. Providing vouchers for health improvement programs would be a kill 2 birds with 1 stone strategy, improving quality of life of seniors while reducing national health insurance expenditures. So I think maybe government should spend some money for that. And we need care system also. Like and you mentioned already, Korea has one of the highest senior poverty rates among OECD countries. So we urgently need robust care system to support those struggling with economic hardship, loneliness, and declining health. Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering how you look so young, but now I know why. It's the hiking, it's your gym routines, and you're spending time with your family. So, Professor, congrats on your retirement, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So we just spoke with a recently retired professor about the aging-related policies and social changes he has noticed, the biggest challenges he faces as a senior citizen, and the kinds of support that have helped him the most. And his insights are a reminder that aging is not just a concern for today's senior citizens, but something younger generations will eventually experience as well. So what support will today's young people need as future senior citizens, Keelan?
A lot of things, and we too, as the younger generation, will eventually age and become seniors one day.
Definitely.
So I think keeping that in mind, South Korea's National Pension Service, or NPS, faces a critical structure deficit due to rapid aging and low fertility, with the fund projected to run a deficit by 2041. Now, this poses a big threat to the current young generation, that's us, and even more for our next generation to come. Knowing you will not have a secure retirement pension poses more stress and pressure from a young working age that discourages you from getting even married or even starting a family. So this is a vicious cycle that needs to be touched upon as a whole, beyond just those who will be affected.
I fully agree. So what about you, Moonji? What are some support do you think that will help today's generation?
Definitely the care service, as Professor Park mentioned earlier, but also, as medical advancements ushering the era of 100-year lifespan, one of our most pressing challenges is minimizing career interruptions for our senior citizens. I think with the standard retirement age still ranging between 60 and 65-ish, it is vital that we create more avenues for the elderly to remain economically active. Whether through part-time roles or scaled-down positions, we need to build environments that actively support their continued participation in society, I think.
Right. So these are all really important points, especially as longer life expectancy means retirement may look very different for younger generations. And planning for old age is becoming less about simply living longer and more about creating life that remains active, secure, and connected. So we also wanted to hear directly from our viewers who ran a poll on the Arirang News YouTube channel asking exactly about this. And here's what the results showed. The overwhelming majority of respondents, 67%, said that senior communities and affordable housing are the most important needs in a super age society. Another 20% point to the need for more jobs for older adults, while 8% emphasized digital inclusion policies, and just 5% said more sports facilities should be the top priority. So these results suggest that people see aging not just as a healthcare issue, but as a broader question of how seniors can continue to live independently, stay connected, and remain active members of society. So how should society change the way it views then older adults, Kyun?
These days, I think Korea has two things that we need to focus on. One is obviously the low birth rate that we've been talking about for a long time. It is increasing steadily, but we still have a long way to go. But at the same time, we also need to look at the poverty rate of the elderly, both of which Korea stands first among OECD nations. Now, it clearly shows we're a nation of extremes, not having the tendency to fall in the middle or the norm. Now, the adults of this country played a pivotal role in elevating Korea to where we stand today. And as a thriving nation, both economically and culturally, becoming a nation where I think both kids and the elderly can coexist and survive is key, where each age group is respected and cared for without any prejudice stemming from different generations. And just like Professor Park mentioned, once you become a senior, a lot of people in society just kind of view you as, oh, you retired, you're out of the workforce, you're not needed anymore. But that's not the case. You can become, like what Professor Park said, what did he say? Like very precious kind of antique product.
And there's so many insights that they can share, as he just did with us.
They have so much skill sets, experience, and wisdom they can share to the younger generation, and they can also play a big part in society as well, instead of just being neglected in general. So I think being able to prepare yourself for retirement is also pivotal for seniors as well. Instead of just like saying, "Oh, I'm old now, I need to get respected." No. We have to start from now as well. Even from a young generation, we need to plan ahead and think about what kind of senior we'll become in the future once we retire. So I think it's really important to keep in mind to look at both aspects.
Right. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I completely agree with Kyun. And you know, today's media-driven world, content doesn't just reflect society. It helps reshaping it. So I think it is important for media to also kind of aid in changing the perspective that we are following the elderlies, and that they could be active and they could be engaging in society as in general. So I think that's very important to do it through media also.
So aging may seem like a distant issue, but it is a future we're all moving toward. The way we care for today's seniors will shape the kind of society we create for our own future selves. In the end, preparing for a super age society is about making sure longer lives are also healthier, more connected, and also more meaningful. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Kyun.
It's always a pleasure.
And also Moonjun.
Thanks for having me today.
For coming in. And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. And hopefully by the time we turn 65, aging well will be the norm, not the exception. We are News Generation.